Hey, it's W5HRO for an update to the last video. I'll make this like part A. This is just a quick little update to it. I was playing around and I think I've pretty much determined um, how to tune this thing up properly, because what I've noticed is I can get like about 420 some watts out of it. Now this meter, it's not, it's probably not 100% accurate. It's a crappy little Radio Shack one. I just had this one on hand out in the garage, one of the first boxes I opened. So I just thought it's probably close enough. So when I eventually have time, I'll dig out my bird meter and I'll find a slug for it. I think I do have a slug, and I'll try that. But this is just, if it's off, it's probably no more than 5 or 10 watts off at the most. But it's showing I can get about 425 watts out of this thing, give or take a little bit, if I peak it up, if I peak the load up for full power. And when I do that, however, and I look at the screen voltage, it's below the 500. So one thing that I've realized is this one for 75 meter operation, this one position that I normally use, this is for the higher bands, because what I have is I have like a 460 picofarad variable loading cap, which is what this knob here is connected to. So this is for 20 and 17. This is for 40, and this is supposed to be for 75, but the 75 meter position is it adds a little too much more C to it. I need to decrease it as well. So I need to probably put another series cap in line with this other. I probably just should change out those two doorknobs in the smaller caps. Then the 450 is a little bit smaller. 350 or 250 would probably be adequate, or 200. Then this position would work better for 75. But the way this dial is here, this is the opposite. When it's on 100, that's minimum C, and when it's on 0, it's maximum C. So let me tune up here again real quick. What I've noticed is if I set the loading to where I get to 30 mils, see how what I'm doing is I'm using the loading to dip the screen current. And if I do that, I set the thing like at 30 milliamps and everything else is set, I look over here at my, see 498 volts. So that's, the regulators are lit up, because I see how they're bright now. I did add that other 200K resistor in there. So let me turn it off again real quick, because I don't have a load on the modulator transformer. I do, it's the bleeders, and I don't want the bleeders to get too hot. So what I've determined is when I peak it up for full power to get the 400 and some odd watts out of it, 25 watts out of it, and the screen current's way up. When I look over here, of course, at the meter of my screen voltage, it drops way down to like 470 something. So I have a hunch that part of the problem is I need to adjust this loading cap first. This position here, I need to like have the amount of C that this position's adding to it, so I can get, because right now it's like it adjusts to minimum C. If I set it here, it's like way over here, or it's way over here, which is like minimum C. So that's what's going on. I've got too much C in this position. Then I could put it in the 40 meter position and peak, get it up. But then I have to peak the screen current. It stays a little bit below the 30 mils. So what I've noticed is if I run this transmitter at 375 watts out, give or take a little bit, then I get 500 volts on the screen, and I get like the 30 mils of screen current. So this meter's a little bit off, because see how the 0, I think this meter's been damaged, but I've noticed when I get it back down to where it's on the 30 milliamps, the voltage comes up to 500 volts like it's supposed to. So I think it's a combination of, I need to adjust this fixed screen doorknob in there. I need to half the capacitance it's adding to it when it's in this position, so I can get this thing to where it'll tune somewhere back here somewhere, And then I may need to decrease that dropping resistor some more. Right now I have 33K of dropping resistance. Now the one thing I did do, as soon as I came back from Tulsa, I did try an experiment. I removed the 1625. I just unplugged the tube and I isolated the anode cap, and I just put it like in a glass in there. and it didn't make any difference as far as what the screen voltage turns out, because when the grid drive is going down negative, it's actually keeping that tube in complete cutoff, so it's not even in the circuit. It only is in the circuit if you lose grid drive and the grid voltage on it goes away, then it's going to short the anode down to the cathode, and the cathode's tied directly to ground. So the load's going to be those dropping resistors, the 33K I have in there, but I did add that other one in there. So what it's telling me is it probably needs to be decreased a little bit more, and I really hate to add another resistor in there. But I think before it's over, that's the reason I'm having this high screen current problem. So when I peak the power up higher like it's coming up, the screen voltage should go, the screen current should go down to where the voltage is staying. I think what's happening is when I load it up for full max power, the screen voltage is dropping down too far, which is why the current's coming up. And I think I've pretty much determined that's what's happening. I could leave it like this, and I can just change this loading cap, and then, run the thing about 375 watts, maybe 380 watts out carrier-wise, and it'll work fine like that. Or I can try to, adjust that dropping resistor more, and then I can adjust the loading better, and then get it to where it's like at 30 milliamps, but I'm getting the 400 some odd watts out. So it's kind of it's a trade-off. Do I want a little bit more power out, or is it really worth it? Should I just let it go like it is? So that's what's going on with this. But I think I've pretty much determined what's happening. I still got a little tiny issue with the load, and the screen voltage is dropping down a little bit too far when I get the power up all the way. So that's telling me the dropping resistors, that 33K needs to be a little smaller. It probably needs to be like right at 30K. I should probably add one more of those 50 watt resistors in there to drop it down to exactly 30K, or maybe like 28, 29K. That's probably where it needs to be. Probably going from the 33K down to the 30K would probably be enough to do it. But that resistance is almost right on the money. So I've had to go, my initial design was try the 50K first and see what happens, because you never know what it's going to come out with the other stuff in parallel. And obviously that was too much. So then I went to, I went to the 40K, which came out to be 39 point some odd K when you measure it. Now I've gone down to like the 33K, which is like 32 point some odd K. So I probably should drop it down to right at 30K. It'd probably be perfect. But that's something I can do. I could use it like it is for now, then I could always change. I could add one more resistor and probably do that. So that was the update on the last video here. So this is W5HR and an O.